very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Friday, May 1st, 2015. And this is Live Talk. I'm Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Gibbs Dube.
And tonight on Studio 7 Live Talk, we are going to talk about Workers' Day or May Day.
To join the discussion, phone us directly at this number 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back.
And as usual, Live Talk goes out to Zimbabwe on our 909 medium wave frequency and on the 4930, 5940 and 15455 kilohertz shortwave Monday through Friday at 8:30 p.m.
On the internet, you can find us at www.voazimbabwe.com, www.voashona.com, and www.voandebele.com.
Some of us get worried when they say we want to cut bonuses. It's part of reallocation. They're cutting bonuses, maybe they allocate bonuses also. But we are afraid these people, they don't inspire confidence in us that after cutting bonuses, where is this man going to be poured into?
Tiripo ndechekuti nyika yasunama, makambani apera kuvharwa, hurumende iri kungoimba, hapana chairi kuita kuti igadzirise nyaya iyi. Nyika nehurumende vari kupera zvinhu zvese kuita business as usual. Isu tiri kuti business as usual approach handiyo, nepamusana pekuti upenyu huri kuramba huchioma, vashandi vari kuramba vachibvisa mabasa, yezvo vana vakutananirwa South Africa nezvenophobia.
Elizweni kumele kube lo mthetho owaziwa ngabantu kumbe amazwe wonke amaningi amazwe eZimbabwe ungaba khona umthetho okhona uyalandela sivile. Manje ngapha umthetho uyephulwa nje noma nini umuntu efuna nje as long as esupporta kumbizana phe kumbi government uyakwanisa ukuthi nje umthetho kuhle kube uhluphelele khonapho eralini umthetho yakwanisa ukuthi njalo ke ngenxa yakho nokho icapital or ama investors both local and foreign abangeke babuya elizweni elinjalo. Yikho libona ke sidubeka kangaka ngoba abantu bakhona sivile bafuna ukuinvesta lapha eZimbabwe but abangeke babuya nxa bekwazi ukuthi vele asilandele umthetho.
Once again, thanks for joining us. And you are listening to Studio 7 Live Talk. And tonight on Live Talk, we are talking about May Day, some call it Labor Day, or International Workers' Day.
Obviously, what Blessing is saying is that Labor Day is also known as International Day and is widely celebrated as a public holiday in some countries across the world. Some countries celebrate Labor Day on other dates of the year. Labor Day in the United States falls on the first Monday of September.
And of course, today, Zimbabweans join the rest of the world in celebrating International Workers' Day. However, May Day, as it is also referred to, like Gibbs alluded to, has now lost its luster as the country's workforce continues to dwindle and the economy becomes more and more informalized. Gibbs.
What do you think about this issue? If you wish to join the show right now, phone us directly at this number 001-202-619-2077 and we'll call you back. That number again 001-202-619-2077. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp. Our number is 1-202-465-0318. That number again 1-202-465-0318.
Onguka hama dzadiwa nhasi tinoda kuti tinge tichitaura nezvezuva reMay Day kana kuti zuva revashandi. Asi chiri kunetsa muZimbabwe ndechekuti vashandi vakawanda varasikirwa nemabasa asi vari kuti havo aiwa haungarase mbereko nekufirwa, nekudaro vazhinji vaakuzviitira mabasa avo emaoko. Toda kunzwa kwamuri imi vashandi vose, mungave muri kuenda kumaindustry kana kuti mungave muri kuzviitira zvinhu zvenyu. Vamwe vari kurova cross border trading vachikwanisawo kuenda kunyika dzakaita sana Botswana, South Africa neMozambique, kunana Zambia, kunana Malawi, vamwe kunana Tanzania. Toda kunzwawo kuti zvinhu zviri kufamba sei pabasa ramuri kuita. Hanzi usambonyara kusekwa iwo uchishandira mhuri yako. Patrick Mukwamba
andiyabona ke mfowethu nxa ukuthi nje kumbuya ziyenzela khonokho okufunayo kuma wazosebenza khona le switch lapho kulungiswa khona right uyasebenza phela ukhangela imuli yakho. Yes, ulukandaba siyahlangana namhlanje ke ngeFriday siyakwazi ukuthi lifuna ukuthi likhulula amajogwe lihambe ngekhaya kodwa abaningi siyakwazi selingikhaya kathesi. Lingakathi lilale nje sike sibonga ukuthi kamkam nje sixoxe ngakhonokho kuthiwa ke ilanga lesisebenzi iLabor Day. Sizwile ke Blessing ukuthi khona ngale Zimbabwe baningi akade belithakazelela ilanga leli loba nje kulezi sebenzi ezilutshwane nxa sisikhangela-ke emafekitali kobulawayo uyenelisa ukuthi uvuse umvundla phakathi kwefemu ngoba akulalutho akulamsebenzi okhona so abantu abaningi sebezihlalele nkhaya kuyahlupha fowethu singathi iningi labantu sebesenza lokho kuthiwa i-vending bathengisa amatomatisi bathengise konke okukhona so kungani kuyahlupha sibili.
Of course, the Zimbabwe Independent newspaper is reporting today that the National Vendors Union of Zimbabwe is stating that in Harare alone, it has more than 20,000 vendors and the on street pavements in the CBD. That explains a lot. I think we have our guests. First, we have Mr. Kenya Shamyarira, Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Unions, or ZFTU. Mr. Shamyarira, good evening.
Good evening, good evening, listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I think we also have Mr. George Nkiwane, President of the Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions. Mr. Nkiwane, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for joining us. Gibbs, the honors is on you.
Yes, let's start with you, Mr. Nkiwane. Today was Labor Day, and what did you do in Zim today?
We joined the rest of the workers the world over in commemorating or celebrating the Workers' Day. And the main event was held in Harare.
And Mr. Shamyarira, what happened today?
Yes, we are in Blawa right now. As I'm speaking to you, just finished addressing workers at the Stanley's Makokova ground, where we had a few gathering of workers. As you know, Blawa is a sorry seat district right now due to company closures and a lot of unemployment. But nevertheless, we managed to talk to the real workers who converged at Makokova Stanley Square, and that's where we are right now.
Mr. Nkiwane, are they, that many workers still on the job? Because I was just reading on Facebook and other social sites, they are saying in Zimbabwe it must not be called Workers' Day, but in fact it must be called Vendors' Day. Is it that bad?
Really bad, really, really bad. And we need to be honest with ourselves to the extent that we tell the truth and talk the truth. Because to be honest, if you have an over 85% of unemployment, then you are looking at 15 to 10% of those that are employed in the formal sector. When the rest of the population is employed in the informal sector. So it's true for those who are saying it has to be referred to as Vendors' Day. But that as it may, people are reflecting what is it that was obtaining in Zimbabwe. But the truth is, Labor Day ought to be what it is, commemoration and celebration of the Workers' Day.
Thank you so much. Of course, we do place value, Gibbs, on those who are vending, they are earning an honest living.
Yes, that's why we have invited one of them. Most probably we are going to get him very soon. So let's go to Mr. Shamyarira. Now, I think maybe some critics are saying, we have got the ZCTU, we have got the ZFTU, but you serve the same purpose. What is the problem here? Maybe that's why things are not going well, when it comes to workers. What's going on?
There is no problem. What's the problem of having Studio 7 and having ZBC and having the Voice of America and all those? That's multiplicity. That's democracy at free play. But the problem is the policy that is then put at play to augment whatever organizations are put in place to service the citizen. Any citizen of any country. It's healthy for workers to have ZCTU, it's healthy for workers to have ZFTU. And we don't have any problem. Yes, we differ here and there in terms of ideological roadmap pathways. But I think overall and above, we all seek to represent the workers. A worker must be treated equally. A worker must be paid. A worker must be looked after. A worker must be remunerated. A worker must be compensated. We all have that same modus operandi with ZCTU. So it's not a big issue at all.
the more the merrier, according to Mr. Shamuyarira there. I think we have our third guest, Mr. Dumisani Ncube, Secretary General Bulawayo Upcoming Traders Association. Gibbs.
Baba Ncube lingaluthola njani?
Hello, yebo baba.
Yes, siyakuzwa ukuthi usukhona ke lapha ehlelweni i-live program yokuthiwa i-LiveTalk. So ke nxa sikhangela ke abantu beZimbabwe abanengi kukhanya basezitaladini lapha bayathengisa okutshiyeneyo. Ngokwenu lilabantu abangaki khonapho kuhlanganisweni?
About 4,500.
Bavela ngaphi usitshele sibile okujulileyo?
Silabathengisa amatamatisi, silabathengisa ama-cross borders, silabathengisa ama-odds and ends, silabathengisa radios, izinto ezitshiyeneyo.
Kodwa kuhlupha kanganani nxa lisezitaladini khonapho sizokuthiwa vela kusahambeki lapha emadolobheni? Nxa ungathi uyachibilika ngapha kulomunye othengisa lokhu, uchibilike ngapha kulomunye othengisa okunye, akusitshele sibuthi kume njani sibili ujule baba?
Hayi akusakhangeleki sibili ngoba kusela order. I think kulezinto esezingasahambi kuhle ngoba everybody sethengisa lapho ofuna khona.
So kuhlupha ngapho kwangikhona khonapho?
Silabantu ababhadala ama-licenses abo abathelelayo. So lokhu kuyaba-affecta kakhulu ngoba laba abanye babhadali lutho njalo bayathengisa nje mara.
Yeah, ubambe khonapho Ncube ungayikhatshana. So what Mr. Ncube is saying is that they've got a membership of 4,500 in the city of Bulawayo. So most of these people are selling tomatoes, some are selling cabbages, some are cross-border traders, and you know, he says the space is just becoming small every day. So at the end of the day, there's stiff competition among vendors. So I think this is an issue. Maybe in the short time, in a short while, we may have a problem with these vendors, right?
Indeed. Regati dzoke kuna vashamuyarira tichitarisa iyo matambudziko akasangana nevashandi. Vashamuyarira pane mutemo uri kunzi urida kudzikwa iwo negurukota rinoona nezvevashandi wekuti iwo makambani kana achida kugumira vashandi basa anofanira kutanga ambopawo hurumende kuti ivo vakuru vekambani yacho vari kumbotambira mari yakawanda zvakadii. Munoona sei nyaya iyi?
I think that is very welcome. And I think it's not surprising that the minister has finally come to that conclusion, because we are faced with predatory capitalists, neoliberals, who are running the company, who are using political muscles, who are using some government muscles to thwart and to rig the workers' sweat. And so as a result, these people, they are geared on having the least cheap labor ever experienced the world over. So when workers are threatened, when workers demand their rights, they are either threatened by firing or they are retrenched. So they now want to repeal the already standing labor laws, which still need to be further amended to actually have a fair playing level field. They are saying these labor laws are repressive. Repressive because these predatory capitalists, they want a higher and fire willy-nilly. Now I think the minister has come to realize that the moment we continue to do that, the economy will continue to dwindle and dwindle. Because remember, the workers are the vanguard of the economy, any country under the sun. So the more you squeeze and racketeer them, honestly, you end up having a country where there is no industry, where there is no labor force, and it is anarchy. So I think these gaps are there at least to cushion the already suffering worker populace in Zimbabwe.
Thank you so much. Mr. Nkiwane, is this a viable policy?
Yes, and in my statement today, I really commended the minister for having taken that position. Because we, like I said, if we are to be honest to ourselves, we have to take a holistic approach to all our problems and say, where is it that we are finding the getting tough? And let's look at it holistically to the extent that we say this is our problem. Well, if, let's say you are a doctor, you don't just is it that the person is? What is it that is affecting the patient? So a diagnostic approach is very, very important. And we really commend the minister for having taken that position. Let's just see what is it that is affecting the enterprise. Who is earning what? If we remove A or B, what are we going then to be as an organization? I think it's a very good policy.
Thank you so much. Regai tiende kuvateereri. Mukoma Sam vari kuDurban. Makadii Mukoma Sam? Aiwa tiripo. Mungatiudza kuti zvanga zvifamba sei paDurban apa nhasi, maenda kubasa here kana kuti?
tofamba nemarori maita achingogere takazorora zvedu.
Hamuna kuenda kubasa nhasi?
Hazina kuenda mugomo wangu.
Saka muri kuona sei zuva revashandi?
Zuva revashandi rinoongororwa. Dai tagona kuti Africa yose as a whole tiungane tibatane tidetsere dzimwe nyika dziri kutambura dzakaita vana Zimbabwe, dzimwe dzevana Malawi, dzimwe dzisina mabasa. Tikurudzirana kuti zeta tishandire nyika idzodzo dzibudirirewo tikwanise kushiyana navo kuti angabudirirewo sei.
Kwanga kuine nyaya yexenophobia kuSouth Africa mazuva apera, zvamira sei? Muri kushanda sei?
Mukoma ndiyatokubatira ura mumaoko munongoziva kana kumusha vanhu vacho ukusina chiriko unowetanga unongopita kana muchoto unongopinda.
Saka zvichiri
panobvira moto unongobvira ipapo nekuti hapana zvaungaita.
Kuchiri kwakaberekera ingwe?
Kwakaberekera ingwe zvisingatomboiti zvachose, asi mazuva ano kwakati tonhorei zvako.
Aiwa zvinofadza. Aiwa tinotenda zvikuru Mukoma Sam nekupinda muchirongwa chedu.
Aiwa tatenda baba.
Of course, Sam is a truck driver. He's in South Africa at the moment, and he is saying that his wish is for the industrial growth of countries such as Mozambique and Zimbabwe, so that people will not go and flood into South Africa, causing this violence that was witnessed in the past weeks. And he's saying it's calm now, but tense. So he's saying that, but he has no choice. He has to go into work and put food on the table for his family.
Yes, we Baba Ngube usaconnect wine. Baba Ngube, Baba Ngube siyakwazi ukuthi kulabanye benu abaya eGoli ukuthi baye water abakufunayo. Ngale hamba khona ngale eGoli akuhluphi yini ngakho lokhu kwe-xenophobia njalo ubona ngazani kumele lenzeni ngakho?
Sesiqalisile ukuthi sesabe baba ngoba abaningi nje bade libona kusiba lama-robberies laba abanye babanjiwe, ibhasi ebanjiwe last week bekulama members ethu phakathi abathathelwe imali lokunye, so sokusesabeka kakhulu ngoba sisela sure ukuthi izinophobia kumbe ngabantu abarobhayo.
So ke abantu kodwa lokho behamba kube abasahambi khona ngale eGoli.
Siyahamba ukuthi impilo yethu nje akulalutho esingalwenza kodwa sesihamba sisesaba baba.
Phoke lizivalela njani ukuthi umuntu angakhuthuzwa kumbe into ezinjalo kumbe lapho ukuthi phulukuhlu nje sokonakala?
Hayi wathi sesiba encourage ukuthi bazame ukuthi bahambe emini kukhanya ngoba sokukhanya ngani lokho kwizinto kwenzakala ebusuku kakhulu. Njalo futhi bahambe bengamaqembanyana bazama ukuthi basihle imali yabo le.
Singathi ke Baba Ncube kuyini elihlangana lakho emsebenzini wenu lo ukuthengisela abantu izinto ezijiyeneyo?
Ya siba lama challenges especially labantu be council. Yes, sikhangele kakhulu ukuthi khona si expect ukuthi bona baza protector abantu abathengisayo kodwa sibe sibona sokusiba yibo abayenza bebabhadalisa imali kodwa bebathwalisa nzima kodwa kungela protection.
I-protection oyitsho kanjani khona baba?
Ngitsho ukuthi nxa umuntu ebhadela imali yakhe ebhadala i-rent kufuze ukuthi khona i-council ibone ukuthi khona lapho thengisela khona kumele ukuthi khona abe protected. Isikhathi i-problem esikhona ukuthi njengoba njile ukuthi khona akusela order sokunguthengiswa nje everywhere. So laba abanye abala licenses labo sokubathwalisa nzima ngoba sakwanisi lokubhadala ama licenses abo.
Kodwa i-license libhadala malini lese umuntu oyedwa?
I-license sibhadala $25 ngomnyaka, bese sibhadala $14 ngenyanga.
Kuyazwakala kakhulu. Ubambe baba Ncube ungayikhatshana khonapho. So according to Mr. Ncube, you talked about xenophobia. So he was saying, most of his members are scared of going to South Africa. Because recently there was a bus robbery where he says some of his members were in that particular bus. You still remember some people were just forced.
Were robbed, yeah.
That's right.
There was an armed robbery.
Yes. So he says many people are not sure of what to do now. But he's encouraging his members to actually go in numbers and visit that country when he's still in the afternoon or something like that. He says at night is very dangerous and people should keep their money very safely. And he says they are facing a lot of challenges, especially from the city council. They pay about $25 a year for renting some space and $14 a month, for that kind of space. So he says the major problem is they are paying that money, but the council doesn't protect their space, like those small stands. So anyone can just go there, stand near the person that is selling, and then that's it. So I think that's a challenge.
Regai tidzoke kwamuri vashamuyarira kare vashandirwe nehurumende vaigara pasi vachiita misangano iya yainzi yeTNF kana kuti tripartite negotiating forum. Zviri kufamba sei misangano ichiri kuitwa here?
It has been stopped, but I'm happy to say that recently the Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honorable Sumira State, the cabinet has approved the legislation of the TNF bill. So we expect now the resumption of the TNF as a matter of urgency, because this is where we must actually have open cuts to each other. Workers, government, and the business. And I think this time around, because of all these sufferings that we have been bearing as workers, we need to call a spade a spade. We are prepared as the worker constituents to sacrifice. We sacrifice our time, we sacrifice our tenacity to duty, and we sacrifice our expertise. Government must now also sacrifice the lifestyle, the lavish lifestyle that is being enjoyed by the ministers, who in turn are also superintending most of the public enterprises in this country and looting at the same time at the expense of the workers. Employers also must also be prepared to sacrifice their lavish lifestyle in terms of their tax and what have you, and also make sure that we are all geared for the acceleration of the blueprint Zim assets, where workers must now be involved in decision making, where workers must now be able to buy shares and equity. This is where we must all discuss all these things in the tripartite negotiating forum. Now that it is legislated, it is now a dog with a teeth, unlike when it was just a bulldog without teeth. You see, whatever we are going to discuss in the TNF must be put to legislation immediately and those as a law, and it must be enforced by the government, by us workers. And I think it's actually, we are now gearing towards a position where as workers we will see there are some signs of cushioning our plight.
Tinotenda vashamuyarira. Regai tiende kuGokwe town center kuna mukoma Love More. Mukoma Love More, mungatiudza kuti zvafamba sei Gokwe town center muri nhengo yeZCTU ndizvo?
Ndizvo zvochaizvo vakuru vangu. Kuno kutaona anonzi Mabiri Bobi. Kumbirija kwemadhongi hama yangu. Zvaitika ndezvekuti tanga tine tarisiro yekuti sezuva revashandi tichaadhireswa neexecutive yedu yatiinayo. The unfortunate part of it, event yabva yapasvika a major from the ZNA anga asiri muuniform auya kuzoatendawo, pakauyawo the members of the CIO, the police force, the chief officers, and the prison officers, vanonzi vesecurity vacho. Most of them vauya vachida kuda kutidisturba to such an extent yekuti vanga vasina chinangwa chekuuya sevashandi. Ende zvazoita ndezvekuti isusu leadership yedu
until now hatisi kuziva kuti ndevedu here vatotisiya isusu tiri ipapo takatifanira kusangana na9 vakazouya kuma11 vauya kuma11 vauya kuzotiudza kuti town council yakavarambidza kuti tishandise hall then hall yatarambidzwa kushandisa town secretary and current leadership yeGokwe town council vava vanhu vaya veZANU-PF. They don't want anything chiri aligned to ZCTU. Saka isusu nhamo yatatoora ndeyekuti utungamiriri hwedu tiine tarisiro yekurepresentiwa. They are more of sellouts. Can you imagine chairperson of ZCTU failing to attend such a noble gathering, an international day, achinzi aendeswa kubasa? Having gone kubasa ikoko, it also happened with executives yatuma yachona. They were never even to address us, to tell us what is the way forward. If it's not that Sunday, you know to address it, somewhere outside the Chelsea community hall, they also even failed to have the guts to tinde chinokurukura plight yedu sezvo tiri kurarama paunzini mamuno saka kuno kuGokwe haatabatikana
hazvina kufamba zvakanaka.
Vashandi vetown council vari kuthreateniwa kunzi vabude muZimbabwe Council Workers Union, vari kunzi vasiyane nezveZCTU, and also vari kubatirirwa kubasa kwavo, vari kunzi you must withdraw. So that being the case, plight yomushandi, especially isusu tiri kuno kuma-marginalized areas kwatinonzi tiri vanhu vasina kuenda kuchikoro, vasina kudzidza, tiri kudzvanyirirwa zvisingatomboiti. Our rights are not being even recognized. And also, this town council zvayaita izvi iri kutotiwisira pasi kutiratidza kuti isusu hatitorina kodzero zvachose to demonstrate our constitutional rights. Zvatibata zvikuru
tinotenda zvikuru ngoma Lovemore.
Zvakanaka.
Tinotenda zvikuru. Of course, Lovemore is a member of the ZCTU. He's saying that their commemorations in rural Gokwe, that is at Gokwe Town Center, were disrupted by alleged the members of the army, the Central Intelligence Organization, and some prison members, prison officials. That's what he's saying.
Mr. Nkiwane, what do you think about what happened? Did you get that information?
No, not yet, but I know definitely we are going to get it. But it's very, very unfortunate and very uncalled for. In a democratic society, in a modern society like the Zimbabwean society, one would not expect such occurrences to happen. And this happens honestly in unfortunate sort of ways. Because we have a constitution that guarantees our rights and freedom of association to the extent that one would not even think that it will happen in Zimbabwe. If we get that report, we'll then act accordingly.
Thank you so much. Of course, we have several messages on Facebook and WhatsApp that we'll read later on. But on just briefly on WhatsApp, we have, for example, Alec, who writes, very sad indeed as we drift into the 2008 era. Workers being retrenched without any package. Nyasha says there is nothing to celebrate with empty stomachs. Simon says it's a day to commemorate when things are good as workers, but today I have just decided to stay at home with my family. Things are not okay. Of course, Mr. Shamyarira, Mr. Nkiwane, and Mr. Ngube, please do stay on the line. For our radio listeners, it ends here, but the good news is we are actually streaming live. Go to www.voazimbabwe.com and press on Live Talk. This is Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Kip Stume saying stay tuned.
For those of you who are just joining us, good evening, and this is Studio 7 Live Talk. And of course, today is May 1st, and it means it is the International Workers' Day. And Zimbabwe joined the international community in commemorating this day that celebrates the rights of the workers. But many are saying it was a sad day indeed for most Zimbabweans because the majority of them are now in the informal sector. Unemployment is said to be hovering above 85%. Gibbs.
And our guest tonight are Mr. George Giwan of the ZCTU. We've got Mr. Tumisani Ngobe, Secretary General of the Bulawayo Upcoming Traders Association, and Mr. Kenneth Shamuyari, Secretary General of the ZFTU. If you wish to join the show right now, phone us directly at this number, 001-202-619-2077, and we'll call you back. That number again, 001-202-619-2077. Yeah, abafuna usichuma khona manje zurukandaba nasi inombolo lisifonele kanye salifona khona ngapho ke ngemakhaya. Yeah, inombolo ke zithi 001-202-619-2077. Yeah, khulumani sizwe Zulu. Asiqhube mfowethu.
Gaiti yende kuna Mr. Nkiwane, back to you, Mr. Nkiwane. Of course, we talked about the TNF and the government saying it is looking at reviving it. But some, Mr. Nkiwane, are saying it was just a talking workshop, you know. They were just talking, and not walking the talk. Do you agree that it was useless and a waste of time?
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's a true assessment of the situation. It's what Ben was obtaining, but it was a mere talk. But I think when we looked at the best practices around the South African, we tried to adopt the South African model, where we have a legislated CNF. And we believe that if then as Zimbabweans, looking at the crisis that is what we are facing now, we honestly need to put our heads together and adhere to the tenets of that best practice that we adopted from South Africa to legislate our tenets. We need as government, business, and labor. But what is key and very important to all this is that whatever we agree on, whatever we discuss and agree that this is what we ought to do, must be implemented. It has been, and it's always that lack of commitment in terms of implementing what would have been agreed. I think what we have laws here in Zimbabwe. We have everything that we ought to have. But what is missing is the ability and commitment to implement the agreed decisions.
Thank you so much, Gibbs.
Yes, Peter Chai kancane khonapho bankiwani. So ubona ngazani ke indlela engacenta ukuthi izisebenzi kahle kuyini. Njalo kathi vele labantu abangaki kathesi njengoba kungela sisebenzi esiningi. Ngamafutshane sibili.
Into esisayo babadube kumele sikhangele umumo esikuwo. Ukuthi uma singamaZimbabwe sifuna ukuthi siqinise. Yikuthi sivela ngaphi siyakuphi. Kumele senze. Khonokho kungatholakala kumaZimbabwe. Lelizwe lizaba lizwe eselifunayo. Ukubona sikhala kanje yikuthi sibasila elinye ilizwe esingathi lapho sigijima kulo. Siyazi lelizwe esaliZimbabwe. Okuhluphayo lapha njengokuthi kwami ukuthi singakhuluma sizanani sivumelane. But akula political will yokuthi sisonke senze khonokho sivumelane. Into enkulu yikuthi njengamaZimbabweans bakithi siyakwazi ukuhluphayo. Njalo siyavumelana ukuthi ukuhluphayo kuyini. But ukuthi kwenze njengathi njengesebenzi siyamangala kanti kumele senze kuphi sizivumelane ukuthi asenze nini. But ukuthi kuyini siyakwazi njengamaZimbabweans. So ngiyabengicela nje ukuthi kuphela leadership abakhangele ukuthi singakhuluma njengamaZimbabweans. Akwenziwe khonokho esikubonile savumelana kumele kwenze.
Yes, I was Akuluge Babakiwane. What we are saying is that there's no political will to implement some of the great issues between labor and government. So he says people should always be honest, but I think honesty doesn't exist between workers and and employers. So that's another issue. Yes, lo baba unduna mayezi ecingweni lapha baba nduna mayezi kunjani? Lesiphile kakhulu ukuphi kolapha?
Ya wakati ezingisesishabana.
Kunjani Shabana?
No hayi ku-right wa.
Bekusenzakalani khonapho ke ngokuthakazelela ilanga lesebenzi?
Hayi namhla vele ukudinga vele ngakho ngoba angiboni thina vele bekungakhulunywa ngani lapha ngoba nakho esishabana ngapha akulanto emuva yoshabani bayini bavala bathula nje siya kula industry akulani. So angikhumbula ukuthi kulenye into esingale isikhathi singayiphakathekisa ngalolu suku.
Kodwa ulibona ngazani ke khonapha eZimbabwe ungani kuyahlupha kakhulu okuhlupha izisebenzi kuyini?
Ibehlupha izisebenzi kakhulu ukuthi ufela ukuthi zona izisebenzi ngalalela abani zingaziwa ngubani akula ngoba into ekhona eZimbabwe ubutsotsi buningi and ungananzelela ukuthi noma abantu bangazi bathi bahambisa indaba zabo phambili ziyafela phakathi ungakuzwisisa ukuthi ngani ngoba isikhathi esiningi iZimbabwe itholakala ngani ilizwe eliphatha abantu ngendlela yokuthi abantu basuthiseke kodwa kumbe kuphambaniseka ukuthi ama-ministers yiwa lama-companies nawo akuselanto esingayithi thina namhlanje siyayilungisisa ngoba konke kuphethwe ngama-minister kulalapha kulamlungu olekhampani akulani ngoma ngama-ministers so akulungiseki lokhu i-government yethethe abantu ngendlela engaphandle kwesandla ngoba ama-ministers hayi le mali eziholwa ngabantu ziyayangisa la.
Kuvele pho kungaphela njani khonokho? Kungani luhlupho sebeni?
Hayi le into le kayisalungiseki le ngoba lalapha abantu abasiphethe kukhanya ngani vele abanyamukulu ukukhuluma komuntu abakuzwa ukukhala komuntu kube wese ngani uthi wena bangagcine babona ngani wena nguwe abahlambaza ngokukhala kwakho ukuze ubuhlungu ngoba akutshengisela ukuthi kule direction akutshengisela ukuthi kule solution sesifela ngaphakathi.
Siyakuzwa kakhulu ke nduna mayezi khonapha eZishabane. Sibongile kakhulu baba.
No ngiyabonga nduna hayi libe limfonela lami ngicontribute kwezinye.
Siyakuthinda kakhulu baba. Thank you very much. So according to Nduna Mayezi, he says he's in Shabane, there was nothing to celebrate there. Mashaba mines is shut down, so most people are just at home. And he further says that, the problem is there are indications that ministers are in charge of most companies. So he says you can go and complain, and when you complain, nothing is taken into account by those people. So he says workers are in deep trouble,
Yeah, let's go to Mr. Shamyarira. Mr. Shamyarira, your organization was calling on the Minister of Finance, Patrick Chinamasa, Honorable Chinamasa, to be fired from government. Why? Why single him out?
Now, I think I will correct it, but we said we did not single him per se. We are saying him and any other minister who is not performing. But let me also correct. We as labor tenders, gentlemen, we must also have a clear-cut paradigm shift from the past practice that we have been doing. We must be still standing alone for worker issues. That is our constituency. We don't want a situation whereby labor centers, like what is happening with our colleagues from the institution, they tend to choose who political figures to dine with and who political figures to demonize. It's the moment you do
but Mr. Shamyarira,
you are inviting them.
Mr. Shamyarira, first I wanted you to address the issue of Mr. Chinamasa. Did you or did you not?
I'm addressing it and saying, unless I'm addressing it, unless if you don't want me to read your script that you want me to publicize maybe, but I'm saying we did not only target Chinamasa alone. Chinamasa must be made accountable for his reckless and warranted declaratory statements that has caused the agony, empathy to the workers of Zimbabwe. By just going about saying we are freezing the bonuses. We are freezing the benefits of the civil servants. To say once they have done that, that was going to help the already nose-diving economy. That was going to help the already liquidity crunch that the national government is experiencing. That's why we are saying that is a reckless statement from a minister who pretends to be accelerating the Zim asset. The first asset and the first priority in the Zim asset is human capital. It's a worker. So if you see a minister going offside like that, that minister is old, is fired. He just has to be fired and bring competent people who are able to grasp the concept of the party trust and the government trust, which is at the interplay. But let me come back to our colleagues, because you are not there to defend them. What they do, as the Labour said, to invite people like Morgan Tsvangirai is so senior. Simba Makoni is so senior. Simba is actually a sponsor in any event. Those are people watching the events. Why do they want to go and address workers at Gondra Stadium on a May Day? May Day is a day for workers world over, where workers sit, converge, evaluate, and assess their achievements and their hindrances. And you have a leader on the stature of Morgan Tsvangirai who will say we have to accelerate the crisis so that we realize the regime change. The moment you do that, ZANU-PF is bound to hit back. If you check all the lineup of ZSU this year, we did not invite such high-profile people. So this is another way in which our colleagues are doing. You see, they hide behind Morgan Tsvangirai because they wanted him to come and then lure political activists and portray them as workers. That was the political role. That was not a May Day celebration. You see. And this must be stopped, gentlemen, colleagues. If you are to come up with a robust roadmap for workers in Zimbabwe, that is not politically diluted or polluted.
Mr. Nkiwane, briefly, can you react to what he's saying before we go to Mr. Ngube?
Thank you so much. First of all, as the CTU, we are not in the business of startup options. We will never do that. We will never accuse any colleague who fights for trust. That one is number one in the story. We will never do that. ZSTU, Tamarga is my colleague. We know where they came from, and they know where it came from. And I will never, ever accuse a colleague in the Workers' Party.
Yes.
Inviting political parties, we have always invited all the political parties. You name them. You say ZANU-PF is bound to react. Not a person of ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is the one which is the part that should react to what happened. But we invited all in terms of political affiliation in Zimbabwe. Because we believe that as a working class, our members also belong to political parties. So we want political leaders to come and then explain and talk to the workers, to their supporters. It's not a crime, honestly, to be associated with any political party. We have been and we are in the history of making Zimbabwe a tolerant society, where you will tolerate divergence and the divergent views. And this will continue to preach tolerance. We have always, because we know in our ranks, we have supporters of different political parties. So, I mean, it's not a crime, honestly, to invite or if at all ZANU-PF had sent a representative, that representative has been given a slot to speak at our gathering. So I want Zimbabweans to understand our position. We are not an appendage of any political party, but we do regard and view political leadership as part of society's experience. And they will continue to invite all the political players. And those that do then respond positively to our invitation, they'll be given a slot to speak. But I don't want to engage in startup boxing.
But did you invite anyone from ZANU-PF? Who specifically?
We did.
Who?
We have always been doing that.
Who did you invite?
All the political players.
Who did you invite?
All the MPs. And those that then will respond positively will attend our gathering. And I don't know why then people view that as an NDC or ZCP alliance. We are not NDC. We are ZCPU, very independent and very autonomous.
Yeah, but Mr. Nkiwane, I was saying, who specifically in ZANU-PF did you invite, or in government?
We write letters, like I'm saying. We don't invite a specific figure. We write letters to parties, political partners. Can you send a representative? We even Ministry of Labor for a representation, and we did not get any.
Okay.
So, yes, I mean, we are honest, and what we are doing, we don't want to act on political benevolence and then pretend that we are doing the right thing. We, like I said, let us act honestly. We are in a crisis. People are losing jobs on a daily basis. People are starving out there. And these are the issues that we ought to discuss and say, as Zimbabweans, what is it that we ought to do? Let's come together. Not just to accuse each other that we are doing this or doing that. Because if we are looking at a class struggle, workers are workers. Politicians are politicians. The elite are the elite. We should not put an agenda that is different from what we ought to defend as a working class.
Yes, kakhulu ke baba Nkiwane siya kuwe baba Ncube ukhona icingwane baba.
Ngikhona baba.
Yes, ngathi lamhlanje lina beliceliwe yini lana ukuthi lihambe khona ngale lapho kade kuthakazelelwa khona ilanga leli. Kumbe akula muntu walibizayo nje.
This time azange sithole invitation asikazi ukuthi kusuke wathini baba.
Ali invitwanga iZCTU njalo le ZFTU abalicelanga.
Yes, kabasicelanga this time.
Indaba lizake libuza ukuthi ukuhamba njani.
Kasikwazi ukuthi konkhona indaba ukuthi indaba this time bengazange sibesicele kodwa eminyakeni bajayele ukuthi basibhalele lathi basi-invite kodwa kolonyaka azange sithole any invitation.
Akukhulume labo phela silabo lapha silomnumzana uNkiwane silomnumzana uShamiyarira qalisa ngomfunayo khona.
Okay, ngingazi kuShamiyarira lapha ukuthi ungani lingazange linxuse lonyaka informal traders ngoba yibo abaconstitute i-85% of ama-workers yena ngoba looking at a problem enkulu kakhulu ukuthi lathi njengesisebenzi sicele nzima kuningi esikufunayo kodwa okungahambi kakuhle kodwa zange lisinxusa sazi ukuthi nam this time.
Mr. Shamyarira, the question is why did you not invite vendors or vendors associations to come and attend the celebrations this year?
Look, the workers that are formally employed, we are left with close to plus or minus 670,000, the entire Zimbabwe, formally employed. The rest are informal traders. The informal traders, they are always interfacing with formally employed workers. So they are also workers. This is why the ILO and the has finally accepted that the rate of unemployment in Zimbabwe is not all that a huge margin as has been peddled. There is a lot of employment because they consider informal trading as part of employment. And this is the trend the whole world is taking, you see. And let's not try to separate workers from that are doing production from the workers that are at Marange. They are all workers because...
But he's saying the question is why did you not invite them? That's the question. Just 10 seconds, yeah?
They are just supposed to come and join the other workers like any other worker who has been invited. They know there is May Day, they must also come. They are not a special pick. They are just as good as other workers. That are now in informal trading. And there is a ministry for that, which recognizes that it's part of an employment industry.
And then let's ask Mr. Nkiwane, why didn't you invite the vendors and, these traders, informal traders?
On behalf of the ZCTU, I would want to make a formal apology if at all a letter was not written to them. But at our gathering in Harare, we had the informal sector to the extent that we gave them an opportunity to address the gathering. Then, in fact, maybe in Mulawa in particular, they were not invited. But my apologies to the informal sector workers. But I will make sure, and I will investigate as to why they were not formally invited. Because normally we do invite them.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Ncube. In terms of Baba, bathi baxolisa ke laba abazesithu ye valelisa khonapho ngoba sikubambe ngodlakela uTubuye ye chama okucina khonapho amazwi.
Okay, engithanda ukuthi ngikulethe ukuthi khona sonke sizisebenzi kumele sisebenzise indawonye. Because nginanzelela ukuthi namavende esikhathini esiningi lama informal traders aphethe kubi in terms of policies the government ama-duties konke ungena kiwo. Khathesi sokumele ku-introduce informal tax enzima besebenza nzima kodwa kwamanye amazwe xa abantu bezama benjalo bayancediswa ngezimali lezinto ezijiyeneyo. Sithi njengani lina eliphezulu ZCTU le-ZFTU khona lisebenzela le informal sector uze ithuthuke phambili ngoba yiyo sithethe izisebenzi zenu zonke ezisuka kwi-industry zonke zisiza kithi. Ngithi balaleli ngiyabonga ngethuba leli engilinikiweyo kodwa ngithi hayi izandla zethu zivuliwe ngoba yithi phela esithatha bonke abantu yithi esithatha sonke ingcekeza ngoba singaza ke siliqathele siliqothele kwenye indawo sithi wozanini sisebenzelane ndawonye ukuze sithuthukise uZimbabwe wethu. Ngiyabonga.
Ncube baba hayi sungasihambela mfowethu sibongile kakhulu Ncube.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so Mr. Ncube, he says he has to go somewhere. So he was saying that, informal traders are at the receiving end. It comes to government, they are not being helped. ZFTU, ZCTU, all they're being ignored, But we heard Mr. Shamari is saying they are not a special kind of group,
I think essentially saying they don't need an invitation. They can
have to just join.
Yeah, like everyone else. Rigaitende kuna mkoma Michael Gatsi. Makadi mkoma Michael.
Ndiripo makadi zvenyu.
Aiwa tiripo nyaya iri mudariro mainzwa tiri kutaura nezvezuva revashandi.
Ndiri kuzvinzwa.
Taurai tinzwe tipewo pfungwa dzenyu.
Dambudziko riripo nderekuti vashandi hatisi kukwanisa kuwana mabasa vakadzidzira mabasa hatisi kuawana. Nechikonzero chekuti kune maghost workers anenge ariko ari kungodya mari. Nhasi ndatarisa kuti kune vanonzi mayuti officers. Mayuti officers mukatarisa varipo 5 paward rega rega muZimbabwe. Vakawanda zvakadii. Vakutadzisa kuti vanhu vawane mabasa nyika inenge ichienda kumawere. Asi tikatarisa kumashure kwese vashandi vakanga varipo vachiita zvese zvaiitika nyika ichienda mberi. Takanga tisati taane mangoda ari kuchiyadzwa. Asi zvinhu zvaapo mangoda hapana zvaari kuoneka zvaari kusevenza. Hapana kusunga kuita nyika maindastri aifanira kutosumuka zvichikonzerwa nemangoda. Vanhu towana mabasa. Ini ndine diploma in building. But iye zvinhu mabasa acho hakuna. Ndaimbosevenza but ndikabuda ndakasevenza 50 but ndakabuda. Iye zvinhu tinongopenderera tisi tavangofanana nevamwe. Tongoti patawana ipapo tongosvinirana nevana. Hakuna kwatinobuda kwatinoenda nekuti nyika yacho tese tiri kuondomora. Kuondomora kuri kuitwa ndekekuti vakuru vacho vari kutanga kudya vakadya. Hapana tavari kutarisa kuti kune vamwe vana vachada kuzowana future kumberi.
Aiwa pedzisai zvenyu.
Dambudziko rekuti tese ngatibuildei Zimbabwe. Takubuilda Zimbabwe ngatange tadzisa uori tikadzisa uori. Maindastri ovhurwa akavhurwa kobviswa unjire huri kuitwa nehurumende iripo iyi. Hukabviswa unjire tinoenda mberi kana nyika yedu inogona kusimukira. Asi haigona kusimukira nechikonzero chekuti pari kutangwa paitwa uori. Mukatarisa 51.49% iye ndoyauraya nyika yedu. Havasi kumboziva kuti zviri kumbosevenzeka ndi zviri kuenda nekuti.
Aiwa tinotenda zvikuru vagatsi. Of course, Michael Gatsi is saying there are many problems in Zimbabwe. One of the issues he mentioned last is, of course, the issue of corruption that he's saying has bedeviled the country. And he's also saying that there are many, what he's calling, ghost workers.
Yeah. So you are saying about 5 youths per ward?
Per ward, yes. He's saying that, that is draining the fiscus. And as a result, this is why the government is struggling to pay some of the workers who are genuinely employed. Yes.
Just 6 minutes to go, Mr. Nkiwane. Tell us about the future of workers. Is it bleak or something is coming on the way?
Very bleak. To the extent that in my statement today, I was saying a worker in Zimbabwe in 6 months' time is likely to be an endangered species, like a python. honestly, if we continue in this pace that we are treading on, I want to tell you the deindustrialization that has taken place in Zimbabwe will result in the informal sector being extinct. All of us will then be in the informal sector. And that then will result, the world over, if you want to develop, the first point that you have to look at is then value addition and beneficiation of your raw materials. But we are then taking the opposite route. And my view is that let us go back to the basics. And the basics is, let's group all those who do matter insofar as the development of our society is concerned. Then we start a roadmap that will get Zimbabwe working again.
Mr. Shamyarira?
Yeah, the future for the Zimbabwean workers in general is very bright. There is now light that we are seeing. We have come a long way, but I think of paramount importance that the workers need to understand is that ZFTU is not an apologist labor center, neither is it a bootlicking labor center to the powers that to be. We are prepared to confront whoever comes along the pathway of the workers head on in the trenches. You see, so we let them celebrate. We will compel whichever force, be it a political force, an imperialist force, a predatory capitalist, we will whip them in line because we are the vanguard of the economy. That's why our team this year is Workers United, more informed and ready to embrace the market program. We have taken our steps and no one will snatch it away from us.
Yeah.
Maybe, Mr. Nkiwane, I think some are saying, your unions are now weak because many people are in the informal sector. Are you still relevant?
Indeed, we are relevant. But those that are saying we are weak, they are also correct. Because, in an economy which had more than 2.5 million employed in the informal sector 15 years ago, now you have almost 7,000 plus. You can see the retrogression and the attrition. And that alone is an indicator that the economy has scaled down to an extent that is not acceptable to our society. And any developing society tries to bring those that are in rural areas to the urban areas. And that are indicators or indications of a growing economy. And now we are reversing those gains that we gained in 1980. Now we are having more people going back to the rural areas because they can't afford an urban life.
And then briefly, your last word, Mr. Shamyarira.
Yeah, I think we are very happy that regardless of whatever suffering the workers have endured here in Zimbabwe, we still have a resilient labor force that is committed to work, that is so robust, that is so dynamic, and it is high time that we utilize all those energies for the upliftment of our lives, our children, and our country.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening. And we want to take this opportunity to thank Secretary General, Zimbabwe Federation of Trade Unions, Mr. Kenias Shamyarira, and also ZCTU, Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions President, Mr. George Nkiwane. Of course, we also had Mr. Dumisani Ngube, Secretary General, Bulawayo Upcoming Traders Association. Of course, we want to thank our listeners, our viewers, those who send messages to us on Facebook and on WhatsApp. Signing off and saying have a blessed weekend. This is Blessing Zulu.
And I'm Gibbs Dube saying good night, Zimbabwe.
Mais pas bon ici.
Nous allons faire une visite en République.
La première phase, ils sont en train de...
Malgré le pays a fini, c'est...
Nous sommes capables de dire que la phase que nous sommes là, nous gagnons, comment dire, je vais regarder, pour que Kéo est en bon.
Welcome to the Voice of America in Creole.